My name is Anthony Doc Hamilton. We're going to talk about things, man, that you never thought you'd ever hear on a podcast. We don't have no fear here. I was a bona fide asshole, but I got better.
If I had to do it all over again, I would listen to my mom, you know?
I said I would have listened more often than I did and never kept my feelings hid.
If somebody's teaching you to read something and you don't know how to read, and they're hitting you, it put a lot of fear in me to even enjoy studying.
I'm telling you, man, this cracker had me up in the air. You hear me? And my feet was dangling and shit, and all I said was, this is crazy. That was one of the greatest things that ever happened to Anthony Doc Hamilton. I'm from behind the chair. Come and watch us cook. Welcome to Behind This Chair. Today, we have some really nice guys here to join from behind this chair. I've been knowing these guys for years. Introduce yourself, young man.
My name is James Kamara. I'm 32. I'm about to be 33 this year. So, yeah.
Okay.
My name is Sebastian Poitier, and I am 61 years old, and I've been knowing this knucklehead for a long time.
Okay, and the knucklehead says, it's so nice to have you guys here, and I think the topic today is, if you had it to do all over again, what would you do differently? I'm talking about life.
Yeah.
What would you do different? You guys can take turns going, or you could just talk together, but I need an answer right now.
If we're going to me, if I had to do it all over again, I would basically listen to my mom, you know? She gave me a lot of advice, you know, growing up, and I was just too naive and nice and, you know, just never listened. And I had to learn the hard way, and I had some things that I had to do, go through after, you know, yeah.
For me, it's more of a, I'm an only child, so basically I got what I want when I want it. For me, it's more on the educational side of it all. I wish I would have been a better student. I was a better athlete, but I wish I would have did that educationally differently.
Okay.
Growing up, I'm the oldest out of 23 grandkids, so it was a big family.
Yeah.
And so during that time, you get lost.
No,
you know?
Okay, no shit. For real. Come on, man. Man, everybody was lost. And busy lost. Oh my God.
So
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
God.
bro. I have. I mean, I accomplished a lot of things. I just wish education was at the forefront of it all, because, you know, my kids. You know, I got my daughter. She's got a degree, her master's. She keep telling me, Dad, you should go back to school. You should do this. You should do that. So, you know, and my other daughter in Texas, great. You know, she went to school, you know, and I have an autistic son. And then I got a little one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So which one of them things you wouldn't do again? You would not do again? I mean, you're not talking about the kids.
Oh.
So what would you do differently?
Well, me differently, it'll be focus on the most important thing was at that particular time was education.
I got another question.
Yes.
What would you think you would major in if you had to go back to school? Again, if you had to do it all over again.
Probably something in finance. You know, my mom was a banker. So the things that he was talking to you about when he was listening to the questions.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
she was a financial advisor, so she always taught me about money, and I blew a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, you should
You
have
know,
known.
so that's why I put education and all that up front.
I think that if I had to do all over again, I would have been a better father, right? I would have learned to listen more often than I did. And I have this poem. I said I would have listened more often than I did and never kept my feelings hid. So I think that was a very poignant line in my poem that I wrote. I'm better now, but back in the day, you know, I learned that, you know, the way that we did, many of us, do as I say, not as I do. The thing about me is, that was my slogan. Every day, hey, come on now. Is that table where it was yesterday? You know what I'm saying? Move that table, right? So I was a bona fide asshole, right? But I got better because I knew what all of that did to me, and I didn't want to inflict it upon my kids, right? So I got to a point to where I cooked, you know, and showed them that I could do that. Because they were like, damn, Daddy, you cooked this? And we talking about after 12 years, yeah, I cooked it. Why didn't you ever cook before this? I was teaching y'all how to fish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the structure that I had. I think that that's what I'm really trying to say. I wouldn't have been so structured driven. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know why you were laying down. I need to know why. You sleeping? Well, you need to go in the room and sleep. You know, you couldn't fall asleep in my house. So it was just crazy stuff like that. If I had to do it all over again, I would have nitpicked, you know, as a dad. I wouldn't have done it. I would have basically, knowing what I know today, I would have shown them through my actions instead of yelling and saying things that really weren't necessary. And I learned that later on. But I don't want to, you know, just say everything in one time. But I will say this, that I needed to become the man that I am today, you know, rather than remain the man that I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Because that man was, he's gone away now. He was my father. And I learned all those negative things from him, right? And it was uncalled for. Hey, why you ain't hair like that? You know, shit like that. You know, that's unnecessary. Now, you know, kids come in, they pick their cuts, you know, you cut them and all that. But see, that's what I would have done different. I would have listened to my babies and then allowed us all to grow together.
Yeah, for me, like, it's a lot of things that I could have done different. Like, one, listen to my mom. Two, education. If I could have definitely took school serious, because I have all the attributes in life. Like, I'm physically fit. You know, I'm basically. For me, like, if I had school in my life, like, as in, like, if I graduated and stuff like that, I could have had a lot more,
right?
You know, and that's one mistake that you know, what happened was when I was going to Mountain View, they did me very dirty.
Well, you're speaking about Mountain View, like, you know, like my audience knows. Tell us about that. And where's Mountain View?
Mountain View High School. It's in Mountain View. Basically, that's where I went to school. And they gave me a counselor that didn't really care about me. You know, she kept putting me in the same classes every year. And that's because, you know, me coming from another country, I had a language barrier. So they put me in ESL consistently just so I can get my English.
ESL?
Yeah, ESL.
Okay. What's
English learning language.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in the same class that you were in.
Oh, you were. All right, right on.
You didn't hear that?
I
was in the same class.
Yes, sir.
It was some special need people in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about it was terrible in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I don't belong in here. You know, why they got me in here? Soon as we started reading, everybody figured it out. Bruh, the special need people reading better than me. Mm-hmm. And the teacher would always wait and put me in the spotlight. Okay, Anthony, you read. You know damn well I can't read and I can't keep up where you are. You know, and I would always hate to be in there. Before I would go to class every day, right? I would just almost have hives. You know, I just, oh my God, I gotta go in here. And they know I can't read. And I would be like the third person picked sometime. Anthony, I don't read. I'm stuck on you know, so it was terrible. I thought you was in the same class.
Yeah, I had to laugh because I'm laughing. Mm-hmm. It's not, I'm laughing at you.
Okay.
I'm laughing at us.
Okay.
Because I was in that same boat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with you.
Yeah.
But I didn't laugh at you. But you laughed at me. But that's okay. So, but I'm used to it. I'm used to it. All I'm saying to you is if I had to do it all over again, first of all, I don't think that was my choice because I felt like my parents should have read to me. You know? Mm-hmm. I feel like when I see people that's showing their babies love and I see them walking them through the things that they should do, then I'm like, damn, why come I didn't get that? I didn't get a walkthrough, right? So my whole theory is that, you know, if we're gonna change this world, a lot of times we gotta change our minds first. Mm-hmm. And that way we'll know the appropriate things to say to kids, you know, because you can't. Like I was told, you know, well, you can't read, so why don't you go down to they had a little office, you can go down there, you can get some paperwork, some little notes and put on people's doors. So that's what they had me doing. Ain't no sense in you sitting in here, baby. Might as well go down there and get some paperwork, you know, and just, you know, pass it out along, you know, on the doors in the school. And so I didn't get a chance to read or to catch up or to be a part of what we were doing, right? And so if I had to do it all again, I would pray that God would have put me in a position or around some people, yeah, you know, that I could learn.
That encourages
you
you
with.
to actually, yeah.
So that's where I am.
Right.
That's where I am. But what would you do different?
Probably everything.
Damn.
But yes.
That's all of it.
Yeah, it is. So you talk about school. Mm-hmm. My thing was, the English teacher, I can remember Miss Williams, her name, and she would tell me, you know you can do this, but you want to sit back there and be a class clown.
Yes.
So it wasn't that I was not capable of doing it. Mm-hmm. I decided in my own little brain that I wasn't gonna do what she said.
Oh.
So I mean, I had normal classes and did well, but I know I could have exceeded even more. Mm-hmm. But I shortchanged me.
Trying to prove something to her.
Yeah. But and then what she did was, she put F. And I had to repeat that class.
Oh no, you made all that.
Oh yeah, I made all that.
She put an F.
Yeah.
No, that was your grade.
That was my grade.
Now, see, people get that. Oh, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but for the youngsters that's watching this thing out there, no, what she put in there is what you put on your paperwork.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, she kept telling me, you know what? You gonna flunk my class. You this basketball star. And guess what? In the 12th grade, you're going to have 2 English classes.
Oh.
And I ended up with 2 English classes because I wasn't paying attention and wasn't doing the right thing. So
why do you think you weren't paying attention?
Just wanted to be a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Just really wanted to be a knucklehead.
Right, that's right there with me.
You know, because I thought, you know, with all what I do at that school, they'll let all that go.
Let that go.
Yeah, they'll let that go.
I catch a ball,
But
I
she
dribble.
Yeah, but she did tell me up front, Sebastian, you ain't gonna pass my class if you stay back there in that back row.
Right.
And I stayed back in that back row. I could do the work, Doc.
Yeah.
But I stayed back in that back row because that's where all the fun was.
Yeah.
That's where my boys was.
There you go.
You know? So you got to please your boys.
Yeah. That's it. That was crazy.
And that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Because see, me, and this is just me, I'm hearing you, right? And I'm not looking down on what you're saying, but if I could read, I'd have had my ass up on the front row. I've been up there sitting with the teacher. I'd have been sitting right there with
Ain't
the
nothing
teacher.
wrong with that,
Anthony,
bro.
you can't sit right here, baby. You got to go right over, at least be out there.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But no, I couldn't read. And I used to say, these people can read, spell, they can do everything. I wish I was them, right? And they laughing and joking and they flunking just like me. You know, I can't get past the, and they can't get past the either. Right? And so my thing was, it's like, Lord, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why do I even go to school, right? To eat lunch, right? At some point, that's what I thought. I was like, man, it was shoot. I know they having pizza today, you know. And that was just crazy. But the whole thing about knowing now that we are here today, we could never predicted this, right? We could never done that. But we know now that if we do right by our children, we do right by our loved ones, you know, then we can almost, you know, say that they're going to make it in life, right? And we grew up in, not you, but we grew up in an era where there was just a whole lot of go to school, got some lunch money, okay, clean that room up when you get home. They ain't said a damn thing about the homework. You know what I mean? That's the way it was, man. You know, and it was just terrible. But I've seen some new parents today, right? They are so liberal, like they're just so good. Come on, baby, you don't want to read? Okay, put that down. You just come over here and do this right here. And that is the best way to go. Because what you're doing is you're not frightening them and you're not making them feel like, you know, it's life or death. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the way, you know, it would have been better for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to, you know, what you're saying. So, me growing up, the reason why I didn't really like school, it's based on how I was taught to like school. You know what I'm saying? And
could you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so, you know, my mother, you know, I'm not speaking bad of her. She's a great mother. You know, I love her. But literally, you know, she was a young mother. You know, being in Africa, she just wanted to see me be great, I guess. But she was very, you know, frustrated, hurt, and I guess everything that she was teaching me, it was physical. You know, if I didn't do something right, she would hit me. And if she was teaching me something, like, you know, as a child when you're young.
She was teaching you something like what?
As a child when you're young, basically like if somebody's teaching you to read something and you don't know how to read, and they're hitting you
right
to remember the word, it's like you have this fear, like when you can't spell it or you make a mistake, they're gonna hit you. So it's like, yeah, it put a lot of fear in me to even like studying or enjoy studying.
Okay, let's say this, because I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm gonna give you still got the chair, the mic. What I'm saying is, how would you have wanted her to do that differently? If you had it to do all over again, how would you want her to treat you?
Yeah. So I would have appreciated her to basically just be more encouraging and be a little understanding that, you know, not everybody's gonna just get out of, you know, a womb smart as hell, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna need guidance, you're gonna need, you know, patience. And
okay, so what kind of parent are you now? I mean,
right now,
yeah.
I mean, I have a son, but he's not around me. If he was around me, I would have been a fun, strict, loving parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when I say, okay, you're not doing that, we're not doing this,
Right.
That's it. And I would have avoided from putting hands on my child based off what I experienced because it's just, you turn them into aggressive human beings. You're teaching them to be aggressive. When you beating up a kid and you're not teaching them anything. Going back to the question, if I was going to have my child around, if he does something wrong, he's doing something that I'm gonna give him a punishment that he's gonna learn from. Like, I wouldn't hit him, but I'll tell him, all right, go in the corner, do some pumps, do some tire pumps, and you don't have to hit somebody for them to learn.
Totally. I totally agree.
For them to learn things in a way where you can actually make them improve in different ways. Like, if he's doing this, right? If he's doing this, like for like 10 minutes, he ain't gonna want to do that again.
See, I'm saying I agree with you, but I got to really, be honest with you as well. I agree that you shouldn't today, but I did it as a father, right? So I want to admit my faults, right? Because I gotta own those.
Yeah,
they were mine.
Yeah,
and I was too quick to put fear in mind, right? To say, wait, what? I was too quick. And today, later on in life, when my kids got older, and I learned that didn't work, and that wasn't positive reinforcements or whatever. So what I did was I had to really eat all of that. And one day they woke up and they said, "Who are you?" "Dad, you see what I just did?" "Yeah, babe, I'm gonna go over there and pick it up in a minute. Don't worry about it right now." "Who are you?" "Did somebody do something to my daddy?" Right? But no, I hurt when it was happening to me. I was disappointed in my parents when it was happening to me, right? So I said to myself, I'm gonna do something different because it's gotta change, right? And we gotta try to get to a point to, okay, what was done to us, whether we made it through it. Good, I lived through it. I got my ass whooped 15 days out of it. It doesn't make it right, right? I would get whoopings for just real small shit. Excuse me, who knocked this who knocked this screen off this window? At the nut out? You bring your ass here. That was the wrong way, right? I mean, I was like, oh man, if I get another whooping. It was just crazy. And it's just simple stuff like, I done told you about cooking before I get here. Mama was hungry. I know, but you're gonna be hungry than that next time because you ain't finna eat no more today. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna punish a person like that? So I can't get no dinner? I'm growing. I can't tell mom I'm growing. Because see now, so I grew up in an era where, oh, you talking back? You talking back? And I'm glad that a lot of that stuff is ceasing. And I'm seeing, a really, really cool, some cool stuff happening with these kids. They'll come in and they're more susceptible to learning and this, that, and other because they know that they won't be judged as quickly as we were, and that's much needed. Yeah, that's much needed. So I salute these parents that's letting their kids just go buck wild sometime, because that was grounds for damn near whooping. Now you keep on jumping up and down on that thing over there, that could have been a trampoline. You don't never know. You keep jumping up and down. I'm gonna whoop your ass. That was the solution to everything. Can I get something? Yeah, but I'm gonna whoop your ass. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the most miserable thing about from those days to these days. Because kid come in here now and will stomp my foot. I ain't supposed to say shit. Yeah. And I don't. Why? Because I know wherever he's doing at home, he gonna do it here.
Yeah.
And so, but it's okay because that's at the end of the world, right? Because that same kid may grow up and be, an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. He just stomped the foot. He saw the foot there. He did it. He do it at home, And so I just got to be a part of the growth, even though it may hurt my coin. I got to be a part of the growth. You know what I'm saying? And so now, like my grandkids. One time my daughter brought him up here. My grandson up in the corner up there, right? Brought him up here, and they said they say something crazy to me or whatnot, like what you looking at, right? Back in the day, you couldn't say that.
Yeah.
Well, see now, I know that that's what they do, so I'm not gonna mess that up because you ain't gonna be here that long, right? So I take it. But back in the day, grown folks act like being grown gives you a badge of honor, and I can beat you when I want to, I can treat you the way I wanted to, and I'm glad that has ceased for the most part. You know what I mean? That's what I believe, right? And so that's what my grandkids, they be like, I love you, Grandpa. I know you do. Yeah, but if you knew the person that if you knew what I would have done, right, you wouldn't love me. But I'm glad that I had to change in my heart, and I had room to change, and that I didn't get too old, that I thought I would never change. And when I'm just watching the way these kids are coming up, man, and it's just that I really believe they have a better opportunity, a chance, because we're throwing away some of the myths. We're doing away with a lot of that. And hey, if I had it to do all over again, I would be a better dad.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm a better person, but I would be a better dad because I would be like, I'll just go in the room. Whatever acting a damn fool, okay, I would have whipped his ass, but I'm gonna go on over here and go in this room and go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for cutting you off. For me, like another thing I would have done different too was obviously taking school serious, because I really, really knew how talented I am in sports, and they took that away from me, because I tried out for football my junior year. That was like my first time ever playing football, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a starter, because I was going to practice every day. The coach, he loved me. He loved my energy. I was there. I was showing up, and they were gonna start me as a DB, cornerback, and I was going to be a second string wide receiver. And mind you, I trained hard the whole summer. They called me in later on in the office. They're like, oh yeah, so we have a bad news. Since you haven't been doing your grades, we are deciding to send you to Alta Vista, and that's a continuation school. So they sent me over there, and I was I think that broke me.
How did you feel? You feel it was wrong?
Oh, it was wrong. I think when they did me like that, I think everything just was. Everything was whatever to me at that point.
They did you like that?
Yeah.
Are you listening to what you're saying?
Well.
No. Let's just talk, bro.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing. See, I hear you, and you probably were a really good athlete because you used to talk about it too much. So my thing is, I bet he can run. I bet he can tackle. I bet he's really, really good. But I think that a lot of times as people, me too, I'm gonna say me first, we don't want to admit, our faults, right? Because I could see kind of that, but I would have tolerated you, right? I would have let you stay at that school a little longer, because sometimes if you give a young man what he really wants, and show him what he has to lose, as opposed to before he even giving him an opportunity, you say, okay, you were doing bad here. Well, now that we know you can play, we know you can, we're going to get you that studying going on, right? I think that they said what they should have did with you, because you're right. It made you say, if I can't play ball, I don't want to do nothing. Because I saw you. You was acting out. I've been knowing you long enough to know that.
Yeah.
But
I just gave up. I
Yeah.
was like, man. I mean, there was a year that I tried out for basketball, and the coach, mind you, this year I was doing very well in school. I think that's another thing that, you know, got to me. Like, I was doing really good in academics, like going to school, doing my homework. I even moved to my auntie that lives in Los Altos Hills.
Okay.
And she was helping me with my homework, you know? And with that, like, I was supposed to play, but the coach was kind of like just racist, you know what I'm saying? He was friends with the kids' parents that he was playing as
I
starters.
can see that.
You know what I'm saying? And I guess they were.
I hear where you're going.
Yeah.
I was at Angelo State University. Okay, I was a small guy in stature. I think I was weighing like about 175. And one day, because I kept on doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, probably, and he said, "Hey, you know, you bring your ass over here. You get down. You know, you had to get in a 3-point stance, and I had to go up against a lineman, like you know, like I would say 280 pounds, right? I'm weighing $175. But this was a lesson I had to learn. And it was doing that kind of real negative racial stuff was going on. And they were like, hey, you know, and this is a true story. Nigga, let me tell you something. You get your ass down here. I said, but he's a lineman. Yeah. But if you don't get your ass in line, I'm gonna cut you. Now I was a hell of a wide receiver, but it was time for me to learn my lesson. I was talking in the back. I knew everything. I catch every goddamn ball. You couldn't teach me nothing because you don't know more than I know because I'm going to the NFL. That's where I'm going. Guess what? Put my little skinny ass down there. I did well because I was quick. So before he could get to me, I got to him. And I damn near carried him on my back when I was running, you know, on the bear crawling and whatnot. But the point was made. I needed some discipline. I needed to adhere to what everybody else was doing. I came out there a star. I came out there better than everybody. I know I could outrun most people. So what am I doing over here messing with this fat guy? Huh? Let me run, man. Let me cook, right? But it wasn't my team. And a lot of young people growing up today, they're superior when they get out there by themselves and they're doing it. But the team aspect of it all is what a lot of youngsters are missing. Oh yeah, this guy was a coach, still is a coach. But you can't coach that. You know, this stuff really should have happened at home. You can't coach this. So therefore, a lot of people come out there, and you probably would have a hell of a wide receiver, a hell of a whatever you wanted to be. But you had to put some of that other stuff with it. And that other stuff, I remember one time, he told me, sit down. I'm a starting wide receiver. What the hell you mean sit down? Sit your ass down. But you're not bigger than this team. You know? And what he was doing, he was working on me. And I'll never forget, one day I decided to go in and look at this girl for rest of the evening as opposed to go to practice. And you know what he did? When I showed up, I was walking down the hallway. This is a true story. And I'll never forget it. That man saw me walking. He grabbed me by the collar and threw me up and had me up in the air. This white dude, I'm telling you, man, this cracker had me up in the air. You hear me? And my feet was dangling and shit. And all I said was, this is crazy. But you know what? He cared about me. He cared about me. He said, you bring your ass to practice tomorrow. You better not be late. You better not be late. I said, wait a minute, you just had me up in the air, my feet dangling? You treat me like a piece of shit? Guess what? One of the greatest things ever happened to me. That was one of the greatest things that ever happened to Anthony Doc Hamilton. Bruh, I went out there. I was out there at 3 o'clock. I was in line. And guess what I thought I was going to do? I thought when we all got out there, I was just going to be a starting wide receiver. I was going to run back up and get in my place. But no. He said, where you going? You know, going to just do what I do. You know, I'm a starter. No, you're gonna go down to that valley, and you're gonna run them hills. I said, well, man, how long? Until I get tired.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying to myself, I wasn't as smart as he was. I'm the one gonna be running.
Yeah.
And I gotta wait till you get tired? That was crazy, right? Guess what? His name is Coach Wallace. I wrote him on Facebook about 4 years ago. I said, because of you, I have never quit anything else in my life. Because of you. And you know when I talk to black people about it, you know what they say? Ain't no way in the world that no white man pick me up and throw me up against a locker. You're a black man. How can you let a white person do it? I said, you know what? I love that white man. Because that white man, he loves on me. Every once in a while now, we how you doing? He'll see my birthday. Happy birthday. I will never forget when my life turned around. It turned around that day, my feet were dangling in the air. And that white man was holding me up. When I came down, I got my senses together. I have never quit anything, not even this podcast.
Yeah.
He showed me, you know what? He knew something about me. Most coaches know about the guy. He said, I know your daddy's not there, but I'm gonna be your daddy until you get better, until you come to your senses. And I love that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, man, I got better. I love him to this day. I mean, love him. Coach Wallace, I love him. You know, because what he did was, he did something that my uncles didn't do. Step in and help me. Yeah. He did something that my older uncles didn't do. Is that come over there and take me for a ride. You know, like Carlos Watson. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. He did something for me. He didn't do nothing but try to gut that bad stuff out of me. You know what I mean? Weed that out. So you don't run with the starters. You start running. You hear me? You don't run with the starters. You don't even go over there like you a starter. Better than that, take the jersey off. You ain't gonna get no starting jersey. You're gonna learn to, be in a team setting.
Right.
And you're gonna get some of this. Because we know how good you are. You done scored damn near every touchdown we done made this year. And I ain't stupid. I'm gonna put you back in. But I'm gonna put you back in when I think you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay? And that, to me, was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned. And I learned that from a white man. You know what I'm saying? And he was the right man. You get it?
Yeah.
And so that's what I have to say when I hear people say, well, yeah, he did this and he did it. Yeah, but what liability did you have in it? What part did you play? Young kids want to play, but they don't want to play life, right? They don't want to go out there and actually do what they got to do. And you're going to find, maybe your son one day, I pray that you get him and you be like, damn, it's a lot. I see me in that boy right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know what? He lacking discipline. And discipline is something that you can help him with. You can't just walk over there and get to him.
Yeah.
He got to struggle through something, suffer through something. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get your best stories, and that's how you get your best results, I believe. So what I'm trying to say is a maturation of life. And that's what this shit is all about, man. And all I want you to do is understand, keep living, because life is going to teach us all.
Yeah.
It hasn't failed yet. But again, we want to talk and end this thing by saying this like right here. What would we do different, right?
I would listen. I would pay more attention, be self-aware, be very considerate of others. Just, work on my temper. Because I do lose it, when I feel like somebody's not listening to me and hearing me out. Yeah.
I feel that same way.
Yeah, so I just, and if I feel like you're not even giving me the time to listen to me, then now it's like, all right, well, we're both. Yeah, it's pointless.
I've seen that too.
Let me just get out of here because that's going.
So check this out. Hey man, watch this right here. Bottom line is, you know, there is a time for listening.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a time for reflecting and whatnot. I love you. I've been knowing you, you know, before you didn't even know yourself when I met you.
I know I didn't even know myself at that time. To be honest.
But you had it. You had that thing that I like. And you know what? I think a lot of this can be channeled. This energy that we going back and forth right here.
Yeah.
It could be channeled into something real positive, right?
Yeah,
I mean, to a point to where you can grow and I grow, right? But at the end of the day, you know, this is not an unhealthy thing. This is just the eyes and me and eyes and me. So that means it's us.
Yeah.
That means that you didn't draw a line, damn it. And I don't care. We can put a period on it, but you know. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I get you.
Yeah.
Because I, Anthony Hamilton, used to be you.
Be like
I was the same guy that got put in the air with my legs dangling, with my feet dangling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to realize that this is bigger than me. I am a part of a team. And this is, guess what? I have to learn this even in marriage. I didn't. I failed. I failed because when it came time to say, okay, you're right. Babe, you're right. I kept on trying to prove my point. Get on the, but at the end of the day, we gotta both learn to listen.
I'm glad that you bringing that up because I need work on that, on the relationship part.
I'm your barber. I know that.
He knows me.
Shit.
I need to start hearing her out a little bit more. You know?
Yeah.
Cause
And you know how you do that?
yeah.
Get quiet.
I mean, I do, but
Oh, you just said you need some help.
yeah.
Oh, so I'm just giving you a suggestion.
Suggestion.
Okay, but guess what? I do too. Okay, we can touch and agree
Yeah.
that I need help too. But the way we get there is you speak, I listen to you.
Yeah.
I speak, you know,
Yeah.
you listen to me. And you don't have to agree with everything I say. Just take it in, go do something with it. Bam. And guess what? If everybody's saying it, right? I'm talking about even me. If it's a consensus that Anthony, you're an asshole, then I got to work on my assholism. You know what I'm saying? I got to get better and be a better person, be able to take constructive criticism, right? Because that's how I'm gonna get better. Because I want to love somebody and be with somebody, you know, and I don't want to be lonely. And I can't do that if it's all about me.
Right.
All about me and mine, you know, I can't do that. Let's keep on trying to grow. Yeah. Let's give that to each other. That's a gift that I give you and a gift that I want you to give me. That's a gift that I give to my man. And I want him to understand that even though I might know how to do something, I'm willing to learn another way. Can we do that?
Right.
Let's learn another way.
Yeah.
I hope that you got something out of this. This is Anthony Hamilton from behind this chair. I want you to like and subscribe. We're gonna work some stuff out because we're not done. You know, I have his phone number, he has mine, and boy, this is good. This is great. We're not gonna always agree, but we need to agree that we're gonna keep trying.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
We can do that.
Okay. And God bless us.
From behind this chair, behind